Cereal we value your time, whether you're here for service or working with our amazing sales team.
Front, now we're going to see a little four-wide action.
Crazy out of the trial.
Oh, he gets in the lead on the record.
3x3 entering
3 deep. At the flag stand, side by side, it's going to be Jason Maines winning it at Talladega.
Hello everybody, welcome back in. Apologies for that. It seems that my mic may have disconnected from the back, so you probably missed us verbally going through your starting grid and race info, but you didn't miss much right off the start though. We talked about they were going to start fanning out. Of course you couldn't hear me, but nonetheless we got it fixed before we even got one lap in the books here tonight at Pocono. You see already on the inside looking to make a move. Dylan paused in the 99 just in front of the 33 of John Shileno. He's taking a peek to the inside of that 99. They worked their way back down the front stretch. Man, already getting loose. You see TJ Lane, he is going for it early. He wants track position and try to hold on from there. And so everybody, again, going to continue to fight really hard for any sort of position you can get. As here's a look to the inside by the 51 truck. He'll duck down on the 11. Just behind them, back in third, is the 3 of Keith Prince. The 53 of Bill Hills by himself. The 54, along with the 5, David Traylor, Isaac Smallwood, of course, last week's winner. Those two had a fierce battle last week, and they're back at it again this week here early. Just behind them, 25 of Braden Avila, the 87 of Joe Yakes. So for anybody that, of course, didn't hear me verbally, since the mic was disconnected, talk about the race info, the breakdown. Pretty simple here tonight. So Nirjuana, 280 laps. The distance around one lap here at Pocono, 2.5 miles. And what they call the tricky triangle for a reason. Only 3 turns, not 4 like we're used to seeing. We'll break this track down for you a little bit more. The halfway mark at 40. Everybody does have 95% fuel. 3 green light checkers if we need them. And then, of course, that 1 fast spare that each driver has as well if they get into some trouble. Here's TJ Lane taking a lap around Pocono as they get into turn 1. Over 180 miles an hour. He's got to get on the brakes here, get down to speed before he slides up off of turn number 1. And you see there, he is burning a lot of tire with his aggressive as he's driving through turn 1 at the moment. We'll see if he's able to maybe work on that line a little bit as they go down the first back straightaway here at Pocono. You really set yourself up for the tunnel turn. This is just about a 1 groove kind of turn. You'll see a couple guys try side by side, but it's not going to work out too well, or at least not too well for too long. And then last turn, the trickiest of them all, turn 3, the flattest turn on the entire circuit. You'll see what TJ Lane does. This is one of those turns you try to take a wide arc, but here he gets really out of the groove. Got to be careful. He's sliding up. He's going to have to bail out of the throttle just a little bit. Doesn't seem like it hurts his momentum at all, though, as he is now starting to put a little bit of separation right now between himself and second place Eric Hegdahl. I think Hegdahl might be trying to save a little tire, but he's got to be careful here because Keith Prince, he wants more. He's going to be looking for second place as he dives to the inside of the 11 truck. Just behind him, the 53 of Bill Hills, the 54 of David Traylor, the 5 looking to make a move, Isaac Smallwood. But as we go even further back, we still got some battling right here. The 33, we saw him try to get by Dylan Paws. He's faded a couple spots since then, and now he's in a battle right here with Michael Miller and Colton Hardy. 31 of Jay Stinson right there in that mix as well. And all the way, the further you go towards the back right now, there's already a decent spread out in the field, including a couple trucks maybe with some issues early here. Haas Beverly did not make the start, so not sure what exactly went wrong for the 30 or the 22 truck, but looks like he's going to end this race in 33rd as it stands for the moment. And Tyler Beverly, you see here about half a track behind your leaders. Another guy that's going to need a caution here. One before too long if he wants to get a chance to get back in this race. Jumping now to the inside, down the front stretch. Got a couple more moves looking to be made here. Braden Avila on the 25 to the inside of David Traylor. And, you know, turn 1, it's one of those turns where you're kind of setting yourself up to make the move and get clear before there. You get a good run off of turn number 3. That long front straightaway, you can pull all sorts of draft. You're going to be seeing a lot of drafting tonight and maybe even some bump drafting. The point is when you get the run, you try to shoot the inside, get clear before you get to turn 1. If you can't, the next place to try it is over here in the tunnel turn. You can't go 2x2 though, at least not if you want to make any progress. So you got to get either in front or behind the guy before you go through the tunnel turn, and then same deal as you repeat through turn 3. Maybe take a bigger arc, try to set yourself up for the front straightaway. But how about Evan Schilling? Again, still getting a couple of these guys' names, making sure we don't mix them up. John Shileno, by the way, talked about he was on the move earlier. Fell a couple spots though, getting in a couple different battles, and 33 has fallen even more. He's now down 7 in total from where he started the night off. But how about Evan Schilling here, the driver out of Newark, Delaware, and right now he's got some pressure from behind Michael Newman, who, by the way, one of our guys carrying a driver cam for us tonight. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. And taking a look, and we'll call it a guess, at when this first pit stop is going to be. Again, 95% fuel. You got to think these trucks can make it probably somewhere between 25 and 30 laps if I had to guess. Not quite as much stall time here as they do at Daytona, so I wouldn't be surprised if these guys make it to right about lap 30. Again, maybe give or take a lap. And so the point is, it's definitely not going to be a one-stopper. You'll have to make two. Question is just going to be, is there any strategy that you can play and try to make both of those stops? Maybe do one a little bit earlier, or maybe do the second one a little bit later. So we're waiting to find out. But as you mentioned, a couple guys with driver cams for us here tonight. So let's take a look at the first one that we got here tonight, the higher of the running for the 2. And it is indeed going to be Michael Newman in the 12 machine. Last week got into an incident there. Wasn't too happy about it. Showed his frustration on track and let us know how he felt about it in the interview. But here he is now live on camera, looking to see what he can make happen here tonight. Another driver looking for his first win on the season. He's had a couple good runs, including a comeback that he was able to make last week. And here he is tonight. The other man to keep your eye on, our other driver cam for the night, is going to be John Shileno back in the 24th position. Again, going the wrong way early, but John, Sonics Graphics Designs 33, Chevy Silverado. I think it's going to be their front probably before we get to the halfway, or at least a lot closer than what he stands now. But everybody's still getting a feel for this place. Not an easy track to run by any means, and if you burn your tires off early, you're going to find yourself in trouble. That's exactly what leads us up to the front now. The 3 of Keith Prince has got by and is starting to make some separation between him and TJ Elaine. And you got to think that's probably in part to the fact that TJ was really, really aggressive early in this run. You could hear it. He was sliding the tires all over the place, and you know, it's great for speed early on a short run. TJ Elaine, that's the man to beat, but as soon as we start getting into the middle and longer portions of this run, I wonder if that's going to potentially hurt him. He's just not going to have nearly as much grip. Take a look on the cockpit view. Right now, he's stuck in the wake of Keith Prince, and all that dirty air is taking so much downforce off the nose right now of TJ Elaine that he's just going to continue to struggle. This time, though, he takes a different approach. You see him going high through turn number 3. Trying to get some momentum cranked up here. Gonna pull a big draft down the front stretch. And in fact, look at the scoring tower. Watch the gap that he actually closes up here. Just within the length of one straightaway. That's how long the straight here at Pocono is. In fact, I believe it's the longest straightaway in NASCAR. And there you go. He closes up over a tenth. Almost gets to the back bumper. And so all he needs to do now is try to stick close until they get back around to the front straightaway. That's when you look to make your move again. No dice yet. For anybody just tuning in, again, apologies there for the start. That's 2 weeks in a row. I'm getting a little frustrated now. But all in all, glad to be here tonight. Feeling a bit under the weather. All the roommates had a little something, so hopefully we're at our best for what you guys are seeing. If we're not, you want me to do something a little better, please let me know, because I probably don't even notice it at this point. But so we go back through the field here. A little side-by-side action right here. The 49 of Robert Dudley getting into it with the 69 here of Jesse Wise. That's going to be the battle for 20th. Wise up 6. Robert Dudley down 1, trying not to be down 2. And so he'll take a look right here to the inside as we take a look at the left rear. You see pretty quickly there, Dudley actually jumped back down in line. Not sure if he got loose or just decided it wasn't the right time to make a move. And when we talk about pit stops, we know what lap we're expecting it, but making those stops clean is a whole different beast, and I'll tell you why. This is one of the trickiest pit roads we're going to head to, because not so much that you have to make some big turn or a road course pit entry. It's the fact that when you come off of turn 3, you're still carrying so much speed, you're still trying to turn the wheel left to get down to the pits, that by the time you get on the brakes, you're too far towards the pit entry. You can't get slowed up in time. You get yourself a speeding ticket. So we'll see what these guys try to do here tonight in order to avoid that. But back up front, Keith Prince is getting ready to be under some pressure here from TJ Elaine, and now it looks like the 11 of Eric Hegdahl, in fact, I would say right now about your top 4 all getting pulled right back into the mix. The 5 of Isaac Smallwood right there as well. Bill Hales, Braden Avila trying to draft up there. So only 11 laps complete, but still throw your top 10. So we'll call it top 6 under a blanket, and your top 10 still all under 2 seconds right now from the back bumper of your leader. Again, Keith Prince, one of the rookies that we saw in one of our second season broadcasting over the Noma Truck Series. Well, he came a long way. That extra practice showing here tonight. He is leading at one of the trickiest tracks in all of NASCAR. TJ Elaine, though, slips up the track. That's going to open the door now to the 11 of Eric Hegdahl. Hegdahl is taking a look to the inside here. He should be able to complete this move going into turn number 3. But you can see TJ Elaine fighting back. Doesn't want him to get him here, but he's not quite going to be able to hold on. And the 11 of Eric Hegdahl is indeed going to get clear off of turn number 3. Well, just as I said he got clear, he didn't take it, and that hole quickly filled right back up. So all of a sudden he goes from being clear up to second, now fighting still hard for third. The 3 of Keith Prince all by himself. He loves what he's seeing out back. Remember, the more battling these guys do, they start stalling each other out. They start pulling each other backwards. That just allows Keith Prince to continue to stretch that gap. In fact, if he can stretch it to a point where he doesn't have to worry about guys catching draft anymore, I think that would be the ideal situation that he's going for. See if he can make it happen. One of the guys that looked like, by the way, I noticed it looked like wasn't out here tonight was Clinton Woodby. So with Clinton not out here tonight, see the 51 with a good lead. The 53 of Bill Hills, though, he has moved into that 3rd spot. And I said the 51, the 3 with a good lead. The 51 giving pretty good chase. Looks like he's got a big lead right now as it stands, but that's just because he's half a second now behind Keith Prince. Still in the range of some drafts, but only a little bit of a sniff. He needs to get closer to really start pulling draft off of that front truck. And if you are Keith Prince right now, you are doing all you can, putting every set of corners together just about perfectly right here to make sure that that doesn't happen. Taking a look from the TV3 cam right here. There's David Trailers to go even further back. The 18 of Evan Schilling. There's Michael Newman, Dennis Steele, Jay Stinson, Dylan Paws, Michael Miller, and Jesse Calloway. All in your top 18, but it's Jesse Wise who's just behind Calloway. And it seems like the two Jessies seem to find each other at least once or twice every single race. And as it stands right now, Calloway getting the best of them, up 3. Jesse Wise up 7, but still not been able to find his way around that 4 truck. Going back, looks like Haas Beverly still not able to get out on track. So that's going to move Rick LePage up to that 31st spot. Sticking right on board with one of these guys a little bit further in the pack, but still in the mix. And here you go. How about William George? Boy, we thought earlier that a couple of your leaders may have been burning tires. This right here is the definition of what burning tires sounds like. If you're William George, he is taking off all sorts of Goodyear rubber right now by running these turns as hard as he is. And again, it's it equals speed, right? I mean, the more tire you use, the more speed you're going to get, but eventually once those tires start to wear out, that whole method kind of starts to flip around. So I think it's just as important here as it is some of the tracks that we're going to head to on the season, to try to get ahead of that early by saving a little tire, maybe taking things easy, and let these leaders make mistakes. Because I'm telling you, there's one coming soon, because up front, you see we got 2 wide, almost 3 wide there just for a second. Oh my goodness. Bill Hales just absolutely shut the door. Wow, was that a close call right there. He was able to just slide back up in front of the 51. See another 51 right there. Saw another big wiggle. He's starting to get a little bit loose. TJ Elaine. This is what you get, though, again, when you burn up those tires early. It's going to start to hurt you in the back run. And now he's maybe just trying to overdrive the car a little bit, trying to make something work. But see the 11 is they're going to go 3 wide right here. This gets a little tight. This trailer bail. He does. Looks like the 11 has to bail as well. And what a defensive move right there from TJ Lane to hold it. Now trailer's going to take another peek to the outside. Can't do it. So he'll have to tuck back in line and stick behind the 51 for now. Further back in the field, Joe Yakes still going at it. He's got a little side-by-side battle on his hand here with William George. Yakes on the inside, George on the outside. They've been side drafting each other back and forth through the turns. So it's going to be 17 laps complete when we cross the line next time. Up front, Bill Hales has now taken the lead. Some of the first laps he's led at a non-super speedway here in the Asphalt Outlaws Racing Truck Series this season. And then there's Keith Prince back in second, the rookie chasing one of the veterans. The 51 of TJ Lane still in the mix along with David Traylor. In fact, David, surprised to see he's not on an onboard cam for us here tonight, but saw how close he came last week. Had to try a little bit of strategy, but fortunately it just did not work out for him well at the end of the day and was not quite able to bring home a money spot. All right, so as we come around to complete lap 17, we're going to take our first break of the night. We'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing. It's Bill Hales leading at Pocono. Back live at Pocono Raceway for the Nirjuana 200, where we have officially now ticked off 1/4 of this race. 20 of 80 laps complete. Thank everybody that is just tuning in. Bill Hales, maybe with a little bit of a change of pace here tonight. I got to be honest. Not the track that I expected him to break out at, but that's what it's looking like right now as he has pulled out to an 0.8 of a second lead. And behind it is still a mad scramble. These guys have not been able to decide the podium here since we started this race. The draft keeping everybody close together and just so much skill evenly distributed throughout this field that nobody's really able to pull away right now. Bill Hale's the only one who's successfully done so, but he is still within drafting range of this second pack, so he'll continue to try to stretch it out. Meanwhile, back here, TJ Lane looking to the inside of David Traylor. That was a fierce battle there for just a moment, as you're going to see the 11 of Eric Hegdahl now try to jump to the inside as he caught TJ slip up just a little bit. And it seems like TJ's truck, of course, did slow down by running as hard as he did early, but after it did slow down for a little bit, it almost seems like it was starting to even out or pick back up, as the 51 eventually just kind of stopped falling positions and was able to hold it together for the most part pretty good after that. The 52 of Roger Strickland just now coming off the pits. I don't know if that was necessarily a scheduled stop for him. Seems a little early. John Shilino appears to have made a pit stop as well, or have just fallen a lap down. Nonetheless, he's not on the lead lap. That's the main point about it. And then Jeremy Talley, you see him coming out of the pits. And then Haas Beverly still not able to make his way out onto the track after not making the initial start either. So as we go back up front, the gap now just over a second. In fact, make it 1.1. 1.2 here as they're going to come rocking across the line, almost 3 wide. Back in the battle for third. Now we are going to see 3 wide in the battle for fourth. The 11 of Eric Hegdahl is going to jump all the way to the bottom as they'll go back to 2x2. Again, this is classic Pocono. This is what you expect to get. Guys making big moves, jumping, going all the way down to the apron on the front stretch if you have to. There's a lot of room to work with here at Pocono. You just got to know how to use it correctly. And again, with only 22 laps complete, we still got a pretty long ways to go. Again, 2.5 miles in length. Lap times on average, I believe, right about 50 to 51 seconds. And in fact, I want to go here and take a look at what the lap times are looking like currently for your leader, Bill Hales. You see there a 55.96 and a 55.94 the last couple laps. So he's going to continue to try to pick up that pace. It's already a blistering one. And if he can, he might continue to stretch that lead again. He's holding right at about 1.2 now all of a sudden after pulling away just a little bit, and you wonder, did Isaac Smallwood maybe figure something out, and can he go try to track down that 53 truck? And I'll tell you what here. I'm going to have to take another quick break. Apologize, but having a couple difficulties here real quick, so I'm going to be right back, and hopefully we can get this all sorted out. Back live at Pocono Raceway, we got the mic issues straightened up, and up front, it's Bill Hales, but that's not the story right now. The story is the caution on the racetrack. Question going to be what for? We didn't have any data showing us an exact driver that had trouble. So that's what we're looking for. It is first caution of the night. Boy, these guys went quite a long ways green, well over 50 miles before we did see this first incident. So with that, let's go back and take a look again. Appreciate everyone hanging around tonight. It's been a little bit of a struggle here tonight. Not sure what's going on. Again, still working out some things. Got a couple new things on the setup, but the mic's been all over the place. Keeps on plugging, muting itself tonight. So apologize for some of the muted things we've had. We're going to try to make sure it stays correct the rest of the way, but just try to work with me here for what we can. And so taking a look, this isn't going to be the incident. We're going to the blimp cam here. We're going to go all the way through everybody here until we can find that incident. See, Jeremy, we'll play this slow and see if we can figure out anybody that's spinning anywhere on track. Again, didn't have any data of anybody with trouble, but, you know, cautions don't just fly for no reason. And nothing there. Thought there was maybe some contact. Everybody looks okay there. Yeah, and I'm not really sure exactly what the caution was for. I'm still trying to figure it out. Definitely a question, if we can't figure it out, that we can go try to find out from race control here. Just taking another look at everybody here. I mean, I don't see anybody having any trouble. Going into turn number 3. You know that it had to come out for something. I'm just very confused as to what. I wonder, was it maybe Jesse Wise? No, he's fine there. Yeah, I'm really not too sure what happened. Sometimes we see a caution we know right away is Rhino Gaming says stage break. And there you go, and you know what? Sure enough, that's exactly it. I was thinking of, I had 2 broadcasts last night, do the Noma Gen 6 series, and I had gotten it mixed up. That's exactly what happened. I was looking at pre-race info tonight, and I had stage break down, lap 25, lap 26, whichever one it was, and I thought to myself, I said, no, that's not right. These guys do the halfway mark, and that's indeed why I got them mixed up. So that would explain why we didn't see an incident. And Rhino, I certainly appreciate that. So there you go, 27 of 80 laps completed. In fact, we'll back that up one more time to show you what the ending stage results look like. But Bill Hales with a healthy lead coming to the line, so he is indeed your stage winner. See a couple guys following there, starting to catch up, but just running out of time. So with that stage break, again, does bring everybody down to the pits. Everybody taking 4 fresh tires and fuel, and going to set us up here for a 50-lap run. Now that will not be completely under green. Still expecting, looks like it's going to be 1 green flag stop. Again, assuming you can go right around 25 to 30 laps, give or take a couple on a full fuel tank here. And so Kevin Winker in first, Michael Newman in second, Isaac Smallwood back in third, Braden Avila fourth, David Traylor fifth, Bill Hales in sixth, Eric Hegdahl seventh, Joe Yakes in eighth, TJ Elaine in ninth. Rounding out your top 10 here tonight is going to be Keith Prince. All right, it seems like some of the mic issues have started to correct themselves. We haven't had it go muted again on us so far, so keep your fingers crossed. But I'll tell you what, let's see if we can pull Bill Hales up here for a quick word. Hey, Bill, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, buddy. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. Well, you're doing a lot better than I am because you find yourself with a lot of speed here. Not quite halfway through the race, but you do get that stage victory. How's the truck feeling so far tonight?
Oh, man, after about 10 laps, man, it's just a rocket ship. You know, we just went around everybody on the outside, get to the front, so just going to take it easy on that right front tire.
Sounds like a good plan. Now, the rest of the way, I believe we have it correct, but let me know if I'm incorrect here. Looking like fuel's going to be 25 to 30 laps, so are you good with a one-stopper from here?
Yep, we're good. One more stop, and we're good. We can get like 27, maybe 28. I pushed it, so we're good.
All right, well, you're going to be starting in just a little bit of traffic here back in sixth, but we've already seen you get to the front once. No reason you can't do it again. Good luck the rest of the way, and we'll see if we're talking to you at the end of this race.
Sounds good, buddy. Have a good night.
You as well. Bill Hales, one of the nicest guys you can find in the series, showing a lot of speed here tonight. I know we know how much talent he's got at the restrictor plates, and showing here tonight that a track that's the same size, but of course without the restrictor plate, how much speed he's got. All right, so as we get ready for the green flag again, I said it's going to be about 50. Looks like exact is going to be 52 laps to go. Kevin Winker on the inside, one of the fan favorites. He's up 10 from where he started. Michael Newman is up 11. Isaac Smallwood rounding out the podium. He's up 2. Braden Avila back in 4. Pace car working its way through turn number 3. Going back. If you're Michael Newman here, I think you got to get aggressive. He's already shown some speed here tonight, top 10. I think one of the things hindering him was being caught in traffic, but that's not the case here. The driver out of Hartford, Kentucky is on the front row, and he looks ready to go as we take one quick look right there at the driver cam before we get ready to go green. John Chanlina, our other driver with the driver cam right now, probably a little bit further back, 28th. Doesn't look like he's on the lead lap either. But just like that, green flag is in the air, and we're back racing at Pocono. Kevin Winker going to pull out to an early lead. As you see, nobody really be able to get 3 wide down that big front straightaway, but they do stay 2 by 2 getting into turn number 1. Oh, one way up the track, that's Michael Newman. Struggling to get some grip, but he's going to have a little momentum. Can he hold the 5 at bay? Ooh, man, Isaac Smallwood almost came up too early. That would have been big trouble for both the 12 and the 5. Both trucks able to hold on. So as we go a little bit further back, Bill Hale's already making up a couple spots. You see him diving by on the inside. He's up to 4th. And oh, further back, hold on to it, TJ Elaine. Another close call right there. The 51 truck got all out of shape as William George went by. And now Jay Stinson, man, barely filling that void. Some of these guys are cutting it close. Shows you just how much track position does indeed mean to them on these restarts. Now as they go back down the front stretch for the first time up to speed here in stage number 2. Well, I say stage number 2, final stage if you will. So diving down low up towards the front. We're going to have ourselves a new leader. Michael Newman trying to catch Winker, but has not been able to do so yet. So Kevin Winker puts his first lap led tonight in the books with that last lap that they just ran. And now Michael Newman still running a close second. Bill Hales in the 53 not been able to pick up another spot since he got to 4th. And in fact, actually lost one as he fell back to 5th. But I think this is some strategy again by Bill Hales. Talk about one of the veterans. I think what he's doing right now is saving a little tire. Remember, the speed he had in that first stage all came on the long run. Wasn't in the short run, so I think that's exactly what's going to happen right here. We'll see if it's able to work out for him. As they all come off of turn number 3, a lot of single file now starting to pan out, but still a couple of side-by-side battles. Back here, the 4 of Jesse Calloway in 19th. You see the 99 of Dylan Paws back in 20th. Brody Benty in 21st. Tyler Beverly 22nd. Jesse Wise 24th. As we go even further towards the front here. So not quite that far to the front, a little bit further back. Got a battle here, maybe heating up. Looked like we had a couple guys thinking about taking a peek. One of those being the 17 of Will Rainwell, who we haven't talked too much about tonight. Did see him in an R&R money race over the week. Had a little bit of bad luck in there, but the driver out of Robinson, Illinois, back on home turf here tonight. One of the Southpaw Racing drivers. Looking to see if he can maybe capture his first win of the season or potentially a top 3. Robert Dudley in the 49. Remember, he had a couple stints last weekend where he showed a ton of speed throughout that race. And so now with 32 laps complete, again, that fuel window is going to open right around with 30 laps to go. So as soon as these guys make it to lap 50, you could potentially see some pit. I think that's a little too early. I think you still got to wait. But certainly can't rule out the question. And, oh, looks like Sammy Davis with some trouble further back here. Yeah, we got one halfway around, and it is going to draw the caution. Sammy Davis in the 14, the only one to get out of shape. No damage on the truck. He'll be able to roll away from the scene unscathed. Gotta wonder what happened here to the 14 machine. Let's go try to find out as we take a look here. Ooh, see Sammy Davis right there. There's going to be some contact here. It's not light contact either. Watch it from the chopper view. So on the inside, he's actually going to get into Jeremy Talley. I believe it's Talley, by the way. I apologize for that, but you see Jeremy's on the inside here, and then he's just going to start coming down. Sammy Davis, that is, and the 2, I think, already committed to the corner and said, hey, man, I feel like this is my spot. I want it. He kind of dives it in there. The 14 of Sammy Davis probably making me thinking, no, he's not going to be able to get it in there. This is still my corner, and They meet in the middle on that disagreement, and the 14 goes for a slide in the grass, slides back up. Looks like it's John Shilino who just barely sneaks by, but does a good job missing it. Here's a different angle of it. And I will say, Davis does turn down quite a bit early here. I feel like he could have waited a little longer, but again, he was maybe trying to make sure he was clear of that too before they got to the corner so that this wouldn't happen, but he just wasn't quite there when the two decided to commit to it. No harm, no foul, but I'm sure those two probably not going to be too happy with each other the rest of the races. You see, yeah, John Shilino just barely sneaking by on the top line. Let's go take a ride on board with the 33 machine. Here you go, John Shilino. He sees the 14 sliding up. Ducks high, and man, that was a really, really close call. He was lucky to miss that one without any damage. Take another look here. Go to the onboard view. Actually, we'll go to the gearbox view here for Sammy Davis. And this kind of gives a little bit more insight onto what we're talking about with. So right here, he's clear. But there you see, as he starts to turn down, in fact, back that up a little bit more. He's clear right here, but then he lets off. As he lets off, he waits before he goes down. So then by the time he gets down, the two's trying to stay in the gas to maybe get there. But again, they meet in the middle there, contact, and you see Davis maybe getting just a smudge, if you will, a damage on the left rear. I mean, it is not much. By no means is this going to be a faster pair. Simply loops it around. Almost caution. We'll take one more view of this here from the blimp cam. And it's not often at Pocono that you're going to hear me saying that somebody wrecked and didn't hit anything, but exactly the case right there for Davis. So as we go back up front, Kevin Winker still being scored as your leader. Michael Newman back in second. Isaac Smallwood in third with Braden Avila in fourth. Bill Hales in fifth. David Traylor sixth. Joe Yakes in seventh. Eric Hegdahl eighth with Keith Prince in ninth. And William George rounding out your top 10. A little bit further back, we're going to go Mark Beverly in 11th. Jay Stinson in 12th. Evan Schilling in 13th with Michael Miller in 14th. Robert Dudley in 15th. Will Rainwell in 16th. Dennis Steele in 17th. Jesse Calloway 18th. Dylan Paws in 19th. And Brody Pence rounding out your top 20. Now, you saw Bill Hills get the stage win. Talked about he's a long run guy, so you got to wonder, how does this caution kind of affect his strategy a little bit? It's going to make us go green now with what looks to be probably right around 45 laps to go. So still expecting that one pit stop, but now you're only going to have to take probably fill up about half the tank to be able to make it the rest of the way. So we'll see if that translates to any strategy from guys such as Kevin Winker, Michael Newman up front, or even guys towards the back, or if everybody plays a maybe conservative sort of half and half strategy right here. But I do really like the call right there from Kevin Winker. You see Sammy Davis, who was involved in that last wreck, by the way. Let's see. I want to pull one of these guys up, but let's see how Kevin Winker's feeling here. He is taking the lead here at Pocono. Hey, Kevin, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, well, you find yourself up front off a little bit of strategy play there at the end of the stage break. You're going to be battling hard here with Michael Newman. What's going to be the game plan here as we're still going to have 45 laps to go?
Clean air. Clean air is definitely king here. Passing is so hard back there. I started 11th in the race, and I think I made up to 10th, and then just figured I wasn't getting stage points, so I kind of flopped the strategy, pitted there before the stage, and then found myself up here. So I think track position and clean air is going to be the king for tonight's victory.
Well, certainly can't disagree with that, but the second question I got for you, since you're talking about a similar subject, is tires. I mean, we're seeing guys such as Bill Hales sit back, save a little tire, and how much speed they've had on the long run. How do you balance that out as a leader of keeping the lead and still saving some tire?
That's always tricky, you know, but like I said, I think if you get on clean air, you can kind of run your own line. You're not battling somebody versus if you're, you know, 5th, 6th back. So being the leader definitely is the advantage. You can save tire and kind of run your own line and stuff. So I think, once again, that's going to be the key to victory tonight, is being out front in track position.
Certainly seems that way, as you seem to have the advantage going for you right now. We'll let you go. Good luck the rest of the way, and thanks for talking to us.
Sounds good. Thank you.
There you go, Kevin Winker. Said track position was key, and exactly what it was is I accidentally had moved myself down to his chat instead of Kevin. We got that fixed. Well, it's been a rough night, ladies and gentlemen, but I'll tell you what, I appreciate everybody tuning out, and hopefully you've been able to enjoy most of the broadcast. That's been at least going okay. A couple of rough starts early, a couple of hiccups, but here we are. in just about the main portion. Again, we're not even halfway through this race just yet. 80 laps is a good distance to go. 2.5 miles a lap. You do the math, that's what gives us the Nirjuana 200. Sponsor of the race here tonight. Sonic Graphics Design. Can't forget about them. And then the winning bid. Can't forget about them either. Here we go. Back into the restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. 45 laps to go at Pocono. Good restart right off the get-go for everybody as they're going to fan out. We got a couple of them trying to go 3 wide. Not that many good restarts, though. Further back you go as Michael Newman, again, gets way up the track, but it worked out for him pretty well last time. He's going to try the exact same thing. And so there he goes. He'll get the run, get clear of Isaac Smallwood as they work their way off of turn number 1 to 25 of Braden Avila. Further back, you see a couple guys shooting out of line, trying to make a move. One of those guys being the 4 of Jesse Calloway. And he is taking a peek to the inside right here of Robert Dudley just in front of them. More side-by-side action through the tunnel turn. Everybody getting really, really tight on exit. But they're all going to survive. Jay Stinson, he is going to get dove bomb right here by the 13 of Mark Beverly. Beverly did a good job. When we say dive bomb, people always thinking of it as a bad thing. But when you can do what Mark did right there, dive it and get to somebody's inside and just pin it on the inside, it's not a bad move. In fact, it's a good move. Fortunately, it doesn't work out this time, but he'll get a little push right here from Robert Dudley as they go down the front straightaway. And so he'll be able to get that spot back and try to fight right back the 2 guys that he was just trying to make a pass on. There's another look. Tyler Beverly further towards the back right now. The man running the furthest back. So I was trying to see if we had anybody that's had to retire this race. You know, Haas Beverly, again, wasn't able to make the start. Looks like Clinton would be in chat letting us know that iRacing messed him up out of his race. Jeremy Tolley back here in 31st, down 31 from where he started as, David Traylor maybe with some issues right here. I think he took a little bit of a shortcut. Yeah, he did. He's going to get back on track. That's through the tunnel turn. That's a place that could be a common theme here tonight. I thought we would have already saw a couple of these incidents, but first one here tonight is indeed a result of David Traylor. Doesn't bring the caution. We stay green, but let's take a look at what happens here for David Traylor. As, did he? He blinked out. That's exactly what happened. He blinked out really, really bad. And we got to back this up. I'm telling you, a ways. Man, look at this. So he blinks out over here as they cross the start-finish line. And he is not going to reappear until they get all the way over here to the tunnel turn. That's when he'll first reappear, I believe, unless it was a lap after. Certainly didn't think that was the case. I mean, that's one of the oddest events I've ever seen. And when, of course, he does reappear, he's already in the grass. There you see it. We'll take one more look at this on the cockpit view. And so I don't think there's anything David Traylor could really do right there. There was just an unfortunate kind of technical situation. Like I said, when he gets back, he's in the grass. He's able to get back on the pavement, get it slowed up, and merge back with the field safely. But that's going to cost him all sorts of time. Not sure if he's blinked that again or called it a night, but we are not currently seeing him on track. Speaking of blinking there, you saw one of the guys up here on the inside, Braden Avila, with a couple of internet blinks up top. Michael Newman, he is still committed to ripping the wall. He gets the momentum off, but just doesn't seem like it's the preferred lane at the moment. And here you go, taking a ride on board. Watch what he does here. He's going to get a draft, and if I were him, I'm backing this corner up just a little bit more as they get ready here to go into the tunnel turn. He's going to get in and get through it nice and clean. The 53 of Bill Hales. Watch for a move here. Is he going to duck to the inside? Doesn't look like it. That's Eric Hegdahl, by the way, who we were riding on board with. Kevin Winker still up front. He said clean air was king, and so far he is making good proof of that statement as he continues to hold that clean air as we have officially crossed the halfway point, completed 40 laps of the 80 that we're scheduled for here tonight. Looking like we're going to see another move right here from the 87. I believe that's Yakes. Just in front of Bill Hales to the inside of Michael Newman, who continues to try that top line. It's going to cost him a couple of positions this time, maybe a few here, as Hegdahl is going to take a peek as well. So we've seen a lot of hard racing here tonight, and let's take a look real quick, or I guess I shouldn't say take a look, but let's talk about what we're looking here in terms of points for these guys after the races we've had so far on the season. Braden Avila currently leads in points with Keith Prince in second, Robert Dudley back in third, David Traylor fourth, Dennis Steele in fifth, Jesse Wise in sixth, Colton Hardy in seventh with Woodby back in eighth, John Shalino in ninth, and Kevin Winker rounding out your top 10. And then the other thing I want to bring up real quick before we stay back live is the upcoming schedule, at least a couple of the big races. I will not be here for the race to broadcast next Friday, so you get a little break from me for a little while. But that race is still going to be a good one, as it will be, looks like, here at Rockingham Speedway. And I'm kind of upset that I'm missing that one. That's one of the good ones that I didn't want to miss. Atlanta Motor Speedway after that on February 2nd, followed by Watkins Glen, Dover, Auto Club Darlington. And then we'll go back to our second super speedway, Talladega, on March 8th. Don't want to miss out on that one. The playoffs, good format this season, and a good schedule to complement that. And everybody's goal so far through the first couple races we have had is just to try to get that first win out of the way. If you don't feel like you have the speed quite yet to get a win, then your focus and your goal has got to be, how can you run consistent enough to keep yourself top 10, top 5 in points. And right now, again, Kevin Winker, another guy who looked so good during speed weeks in Daytona to kick us off, is looking great here yet again tonight. And going further back right now, a little bit of action here. Tyler Beverly on the outside. There's John Shalino, maybe looking to make a pass on the inside. The 33, I believe that is not for position, as Shalino might still be a lap down. Again, we had a lot of them, yeah. Right now, 28th on back is not on the lead lap. And that starts with Roger Strickland, who we have not talked about tonight, but you see him in the 52 machine. A little bit of trouble earlier. I believe he had an unscheduled pit stop. We got a caution not too long after. That certainly didn't help his case. And as we do go back to your leader, Kevin Winker, he's been kind of holding the gap steady on Smallwood. He's not been able to extend it, but Smallwood hasn't necessarily been able to shrink it either. And so we'll see what he gets here. And you see what Winker's doing is something that you see a lot in the IndyCar and sometimes in F1. He's trying to break that draft, swerving all the way down almost to the white line and below the apron on the front straightaway, trying to get the 5 to not want to follow him or not get as much pull down the front straightaway. And that should help keep him back a little bit further, a little bit longer. And I like that strategy by Winker. If he can do that for long enough, I'm telling you, eventually here, the 5 you would think is going to fall off, being trapped in the dirty air. As we go back here, TJ Lane in the 51, just behind the 18 right now of Evan Schilling. Those two going to go side by side through the tunnel turn. Ooh, man, Schilling got way up the track, but he's going to keep it off the wall. And the 42 of Kevin Winker will continue to lead. It's going to be 44 of 80 laps complete as they cross the line. This time, Smallwood again with a little bit of a run, but as you see, Winker's going to do the same thing he continues to do, go all the way to the apron. That time, though, Smallwood decided to stay high. He still did gain some time down the front stretch, but not as much as he maybe could have. And at a certain point as a driver, you either get annoyed or you say, my tires are not worth going down there and back up every single time. I'll just catch you slower. As the 87 of Joe Yates is going to go around the 25 of Braden Avila. That's going to be the battle for third. Joe Yates, by the way, is up 6 from where he started. Braden Avila back in 4th. He is up 3. Your biggest mover, though, in the field, as it looks like right now, is in 12th. It's Will Rainwell. And the biggest loser, I hate to put it that way, but going in the wrong direction right now, is John Shalino. As things have went from bad to worse for the 33. It seems like he's kept the truck clean so far here tonight, but just can't find the speed that he's necessarily looking for. So as they come off of turn number 3, you saw further back there, more side-by-side action. Starting to single file out. I'm telling you, turn 3 it's so tight on exit that I'm amazed at how much side-by-side action we have seen out of that corner already tonight. We've seen some through the tunnel turn. We've seen some through turn 1. We've seen some through turn 3. And what we're getting ready to see right here is a battle for the lead as Isaac Smallwood is now knocking on the back door. He's within range that I don't think Winker is so much worried about trying to break the draft, as he's going to have to be blocking here if he wants to hold the lead. And Isaac Smallwood maybe taking a peek here down in the tunnel turn. He doesn't. He's going to try to make the 42 make a mistake instead. Kevin Winker still on rails through the tunnel turn. No issues. The 5 now of Isaac Smallwood. Watch for him to jump a little bit higher here. Try to take advantage. Maybe make a jump to the outside lane. And here you go. Riding with Isaac Smallwood here for just a lap. Let's see if he can complete this pass to ride on board. Gets another big draft down the front straightaway. He's almost getting to the inside. I like what he's doing though right here. It's almost to a degree playing mind games with Kevin Winker. Doesn't look like he's necessarily ready to pass him just yet. Looks like he wants to either get himself a bigger run or a more comfortable position to do it in. But Kevin Winker still continuing to try to break the draft, block, whatever you want to call it here. to hold the 5 back, and Smallwood just kind of keeps pump faking a little bit out to the left, out to the right. I think what he's trying to do is to get Kevin Winker to maybe overthink it just ever so slightly. Doesn't take much. You wash up in one of these corners, and that'll be a free, easy pass for Isaac Smallwood if he can get the job done. There's Joe Yakes and Bill Hills. Even further back, you got William George, Jay Stinson, Ray Navila. And here's Michael Miller along with Robert Dudley. And then, of course, the 13 of Mark Beverly. Behind them, you got another little 4-truck group. Jumping to the inside now, it's going to be Evan Schilling, but it is Will Rainwell Schilling. Looks like Jesse Wise. And the 28 still tagging on as well. I'm not sure if he went a lap down. No, that's Dennis Steele. And looking for the first man that went a lap down. It was back in 28th. Looks like now it is 27 cars on the lead lap. 28, the first one a lap down. So we'll be coming to 30 laps to go here as the battle for the lead is on. Here we go. 5 Isaac Smallwood jumping to the outside. The 42 of Kevin Winker on the inside. Got to be careful. Things really got tight through the bus stop. What a move, though, from Isaac Smallwood. He was able to maintain his position with the 42 right there. Coming through the hardest turn, one of the hardest turns on the whole track. The tunnel turn, we talked about you cannot go too wide through there. Never would I thought the guy on the outside would have made the pass work, but that's exactly what he does. And he makes the outside work yet again in turn number 3. Just like that, we got a new leader here at Pocono. He's going to try the same thing that he saw Kevin Winker do as he goes all the way down to the apron to break any possible draft. Now he's going to jump back up. What can Winker do? You got to wonder, did he use his tires up just a little bit too much? Does he still have some reserves if he needs them? Single file throughout most of the field. Again, I think everybody's kind of starting to get the black box to set up and get prepared for this first pit stop. You see the 18 dive to the inside right there. That was Evan Schilling again. And I guess Evan's kind of doing the opposite of everybody else right now as he tries to go to the front as everybody else is just worried more or less about getting in line. And so he will get some helpers. Man, that was some contact right there between Dylan Paws. Try to go back to that. And the 63 of Brody Benty, I think so it was. That was a close call. Let's go back and take another look at that. So Dylan's going to jump down right here. And sure, the 63 may have actually pulled up and was just trying to give him a bump, try to help him out. But you can see it gets Dylan high, and ultimately the 63 is able to go right back under. Going to be 50 laps complete when we cross the line this time. Going to get a couple more things set up as we approach the end of this race, but it's still going to be 30 laps to go. We got around the pit stops and a whole lot more. Stick with us. We'll be right back to Pocono. Back live for the Nirjuana 200, and pit stops are underway. 42 of Kevin Winker, the 11 of Eric Hegdahl. Going to be the first two to bring it down. Now I'm expecting 4 tires and fuel here, as you can see up top, 53 of 80 laps complete. So that final fuel window is open, and a couple guys are taking advantage of it early. In fact, let's see, do we have anybody else coming? Yeah, we certainly did. Braden Avila, we talked about Eric Hegdahl. Mark Beverly came in as well. Looks like Michael Newman and Tyler Beverly all making their last stop at 45. Yikes, he's got some right side damage. Not sure exactly how or where he got that from, but certainly going to affect the performance of that truck a little bit. Doesn't look like he's going to use a fast pair on it. Doesn't look like he'll use optional either. So up front, Isaac Smallwood, who took the lead before we saw any pit cycles here. You got to wonder, does he come down this time or does he stay out yet again? Looks like he's going to be content to stay out for now. So keep an eye here and see how everybody decides to make their pit stops. That first group that went in are the guys trying the short strategy, kind of trying to undercut the leaders, if you will. Guys that pit late, maybe hoping that we'll see a caution before they have to pit and force everyone's hands. But yeah, looks like Eric Hegdahl, bad news here for him and Tyler Beverly. I'm not sure if Beverly's is damaged, but Hegdahl looks like it might be a speeding penalty as he still sits on the pits. That could be a night ender to what was looking like such a good run. So Isaac Smallwood still in the lead with Joe Yates second. Bill Hales third, William George in fourth. He's up 4 from where he started. Jay Stinson rounding out your top 5. He is up 12, as is Michael Miller in 6th. Jesse Calloway, 2 better than both of those guys. He's up 14 from where he started, but still waiting for all these pit stops to cycle through. And we're approaching 25 laps to go here in just about 2 laps from now. Not this lap, but next lap. Still no pit stop. And the thing that worries me a little bit here about what Isaac's doing with this strategy is, man, the fall off is just so huge. And again, he should be able to theoretically catch up, even if he comes out pretty far behind whoever cycles the lead. But let's take a look at these lap times here. 56.3, the last lap for the fastest truck on the track right now, and Isaac Smallwood. And you go further back, rather, all the way to one of the guys who has already brought it down for their pits. In fact, I think we're going to go here to Kevin Winker. Take a look at what his first lap has been here on new fresh tires, and we're getting ready to find out right here as he works his way through turn number 3. I'll tell you what, it is so tempting to say turns 3 and 4, but you'll see on the wall here, Pocono, it says what turn 4. They ain't got one 3 turns, but here you go. Looking at the lap time, it's going to go down officially. It's a 54.6, and he'll run a couple more flyers that are that fast. So, I mean, take a look at that. That's almost 2 seconds worth of fall off. Here we go. Isaac Smallwood's going to bring it down. I was getting ready to say it's probably a good time to do so. He's going to get a couple followers as well. William George is going to bring it down to the pits. And so Isaac Smallwood and William George expect to take 4 tires and fuel. 2 of those drivers that were in the top 5 here just before this pit cycle. And so Smallwood, I don't expect to come back out with the lead. But the bigger question would be, how far back does he come out here? And we're keeping an eye for Kevin Winker. In fact, if you take a look at your track map, I'm looking for him here. And right now, it looks like it's scoring Kevin Winker still pretty far back, all things considered, in 18th. And there you see the 18th place, little dot on your screen, rocketing down the Pocono front straightaway. As now we're going to see the 5 pull out of the pits. And so now the question all becomes, how far does Kevin Winker get in front? Again, you see that blue line, that's where these guys have the option to merge back on the track. So Isaac Smallwood, it's not like Daytona where you have to wait as long and run on this flat banking. He's able to get up to speed here relatively quick, and it looks like it's going to go down as Kevin Winker being, I'd say, probably just less than a quarter of the track ahead of the 5 truck. Now, we haven't counted in whatever strategies everybody else is playing here tonight, but we're going to get a pretty good idea of what they're looking like here in probably about the next 10 laps at most, because that's about as far as you can go. Again, 24 laps to go now here at Pocono. Joe Yates has been handed the lead. Jesse Calloway in 2nd. Keith Prince 3rd. Jesse Wise 4th with Evan Schilling in 5th. Brody Venti back in 6th. Lance Thompson in 7th. David Traylor 8th. Jonathan Herbert 9th. And Andrew Hansley rounding out your top 10. Kevin Winker is going to take over 11th as Bill Hales is just now making his way out of the pits. Boy, you feel a little bit bad almost for Bill Hales. He had so much potential right from the drop to green, and then as we got into the long run, he was showing you just how much speed he had here tonight. But looks like so far through this pit sequence, maybe not going quite the way he would have liked it to. However, again, he is going to be on that strategy where he's on newer tires than the rest of these guys, and you never know. But here we go. We're going to see a pit stop now from every single one of the rest of your leaders that were staying out here. Joe Yates, Keith Prince, Jesse Calloway, Jesse Wise. Looks like Lance Thompson and David Traylor, Jonathan Herbert, Andrew Hansley, they all did stay out actually, so we still are expecting at least one, if not two more rounds. But with 23 to go, again, by no means, no chance can you make it on fuel. At this point, I think if you're Lance Thompson or anybody that's still out that hasn't pitted all the way back through Keith Prince, or excuse me, Andrew Hansley, I think you're just kind of hoping for a caution at this point. Again, you can't save fuel. Maybe you've saved enough to try a two-tire strategy, but even at that point, you're still going to lose time. Tires just too valuable here. So I think right now, Lance Thompson, David Traylor, are just Jonathan Herbert, Andrew Hansley. They're all praying for a caution. If they can't get one, though, and their race could certainly go down in flames due to strategy call. Going to go to a quick reminder. Actually, we'll hold this battle here for just a moment before we talk about any reminder. As you see Joe Yakes on the inside here of Bill Hales. Just in front of both of these two trucks is William George, who again has been slowly but surely creeping his way through the field. And I feel like George in general has been on a little bit of a drought lately. We saw him over in the Noma Truck Series. Was one of, well, still is, of course, one of the most talented drivers that we see over there. But one of the guys who went on one of the greatest tears that I had seen all season. And unfortunately, after a couple of bad races, seems like we've just not seen him quite return to his former self yet. But the driver out of Louisiana, you know, it's just a matter of time if he can find himself in victory lane or just even break in and get that one top 5, top 3, whatever he needs. I don't think it's going to be long before you see him start stacking the wins back on as this race goes on. Or excuse me, as this season goes on. So it'll be 21 laps to go at the line this time. Thompson, Herbert, Hansley still out. We did get one more pit stop here further back. But we're putting quite a few of them a lap down. In fact, now it looks like it's only 25 trucks being reported on the lead lap. Remember, we started with 33. Again, Haas Beverly did not make the start. Tyler Beverly looks like right now is still sitting on the pits. Not sure if he just called it a night, getting some more damage fixed, or what the deal is, but definitely not the way Tyler Beverly would have liked to see his night come to an end. So Lance Thompson, he is just going to continue to get tracked down right here by the leaders, and eventually when he has to make that pit stop, he is going to be so far back that I just don't think there's going to be much he can do to try to recover from that. So going even closer. Let's take a ride on board here. I don't know if I'd call it quite a battle, but we do have a couple of things starting to heat up a little bit further back here with, say, Jay Stinson, William George, I think, was in that mix. And here we go. Let's go take a ride on board of the roll bar real quick. This is with Isaac Smallwood. Ray Navila back here as well. And man, listen to the tire squeal. He is struggling for grip right now off of turn number 3. He is trying just about everything he can to make it work. Just not working out too well for the moment. 20 laps to go though now at Pocono. Starting to wind down on the end. This is now the last quarter of the Nirjuana 200. Yeah, ooh, looks like somebody hit a cone coming back onto the track. I don't know if it's still there. Yeah, no, looks like somebody was able to hit it back down. And unless it was the one on the fence that we saw, nonetheless, caught my eye there for just a second. Can't get debris cautions here in iRacing, but certainly can get guys maybe trying to swerve around it and calls one in some sense. Robert Dudley showing you the difference of new tires versus old tires here as he goes right around the 21, and here we go. Lance Thompson is going to make his pit stop. We'll see if Andrew Hansley decides to follow. See, up 26 positions coming off of turn number 3. He's not. He chooses to stay out another lap. And so interestingly enough, we had probably the most pit cycles, or the most rounds of pit stops, I would say, that we have seen in any race so far this year. At least under green, that is. So with 19 laps to go, Thompson will top off on fuel and tires. And again, unfortunately for him, though, he is going to go to the back. Not all the way to the back, but certainly no chance of going to the front the rest of the way, as he lost way too much time to the guys that have been out on new tires for the last 10 laps or so. And the 42 of Kevin Winker is indeed going to reclaim the lead, as Andrew Hansley has fallen back to second, just not able to hold on anymore, and he's going to be in danger of getting swallowed up here by more of the lead lap trucks. Up next is Isaac Smallwood. You see the 88 of Jonathan Herbert in this mix as well. Jay Stinson. Herbert has not made that last pit stop yet either. The 25 of Ray Navila on the outside, but these three, they might even think about trying to group up here, as we're going to see the last round of pit stop right here from Andrew Hansley and Jonathan Herbert. Hansley's going to get in there with no issues, as does Jonathan Herbert. So 18 laps to go now. The 18 is going to slide into his box. Ooh, he's got to pack it up just a little bit there as he comes in a little hot. Andrew Hansa, on the other hand, looks like he is going to do just fine. He'll get his 4 tires and fuel and rocket right back out of the pits. Actually looked there like he maybe only got left sides. I don't think that would be true, though. Yeah, no, he got all 4. Still blinking around a little bit, but when he gets back out there, we'll see where it puts him, rather. But up front, Kevin Winker still chasing the 28, trying to put him a lap down. Not been the night that the 28 crew has won it tonight. That's Dennis Steele, but any extra lap you can hang on to, the better. You never know. Some of these races get really crazy at the end, and if you find yourself only 1, maybe sometimes even 2 laps down at the end of one of these races, you'd be surprised at how much of a chance you still have at getting through a potential last lap wreck, or maybe some drama that puts us into an overtime towards the finish. And so as Winker dives into turn 1, I think it's a good time for a little crank it up here at Pocono. Here we go. All right, and that's going to wrap it up for tonight's segment of Crank It Up. Coming to 14 laps to go in the Nirjuana 200. Thank you all that are tuning in right now or tuned in at some point here tonight. Appreciate you spending your Friday night here at Ghost Racing Network. Further back, Jay Stinson, Joe Yakes, they're going to try to make a little move on each other here as Yakes goes for the block. Stinson has none of it. He'll drop to the bottom, maybe hoping he can get some help here from Bill Hales, but nothing doing just yet. Stinson will give him a heavy side draft going into turn number 1. Yakes washing up the track just a little bit. Stinson on the inside getting pulled. What a move right there defensively from Joe Yakes. My goodness, I thought for sure Jay was going to have that move clear. Joe said, none of that. And was able to roll the momentum on the outside, takes that spot back. And as a driver, sometimes when you do something like that, you get the guy behind you to say, oh, wow, maybe this guy's got something here. I'm not going to battle him so hard. I'll let him go and do his thing. We're about doing my thing. Up front, Team W42 Chevy Silverado from Oberg Custom Homes currently finds itself in the lead. Kevin Winker, a guy who you thought was going to get it done at Daytona there, certainly looked like he had the speed and dominance and skill set to do it. Couldn't make it happen. Move on to the next couple weeks, a couple more chances. Thought he was going to make it happen, couldn't quite make it happen, but here tonight, with 13 laps to go, his chance of making it happen is starting to look a little bit better and better as he tries to separate himself from the 5 of Isaac Smallwood. I was looking a little bit further back for who their biggest threat was going to end up being, and looking for any guy that decided to take tires a lot later, and I don't think he's got that many people to really worry about. He's taking tires late, I just don't think was the right call. And so if you're Kevin Winker here, you got to be careful though, because the problem here is Smallwood's in the draft. And you notice that because he continues to pull up slowly here each and every lap. So I wouldn't count Smallwood out. I mean, you know he wants to go back-to-back, and he's definitely going to be hanging around in the draft here for quite some time. So if you're Kevin Winker, you kind of have two options here. You push the envelope and try everything to pull away here, pull so that he can't get into your draft anymore, or you just try to be a little bit conservative, save some tire. If he gets there, that's when you decide to start racing him, or let him go and pass him again. But when he's running a different line to you, that certainly doesn't help. You can't take that line away. As you saw right there, the 5 of Isaac Smallwood migrated to the top through turn number 1. The 28, this lapper, boy, I've been watching him here. He's been a tough lapper to get by. In fact, this is one of the newer guys, as we talked about, Dennis Steele. If he was still on the lead lap, he very well might be winning this race. These guys cannot find a way to get past him. He's been up here in this position for I can't even tell you how long now, and this is not actually Dennis's first race, but the driver out of Jacksonville, Florida, not rocking the same Jacksonville Jaguar scheme this week, but not as much as experience as some of these guys in the league, but he is taking full advantage of it as it stands at the moment. When they cross the line that time right there, it is now going to put us officially at 11 laps to go here at Pocono. The battle for second, not quite as interesting as the one for first, but man, these guys are getting ready to go to duel here, go to war for the final time. Smallwood, I think, is going to get him, but Winker knows if he does, that'll bring his race to an end, so he's going to be trying everything in his power right here to not let that happen. As they drag race down the backstretch, nothing he can do. I mean, Smallwood just has the run, and once he gets that run, he's going to get clear. And now what Smallwood's going to try to do is hopefully find a way to get around this lat truck and use him as a pick or a separator, if you will, to put between him and Kevin Winker. Doesn't want Winker trying anything funny or trying to get back up here before this race is over. Smallwood would love to go back-to-back, and he's got a real legitimate shot at it here tonight as it stands at the moment. Joe Yakes, who's back in third, still kind of in the draft of this mix and might be able to pull up to it and get involved here if he's able to keep these speeds going. And back here in this third pack right now, you see the 25 of Braden Avila, Bill Hales, Jay Stinson. All these guys running to try to see if they can get a top 3 finish if anybody messes up front, but I think they're going to be fighting for fourth here. So you saw what looked like the 96 right there as well. That's William George. I'm thinking him and TJ Lane might be teammates. A couple more people in the chat. Final time, we'll take a look at this here on the night. The Goat Bird, good to see you out here. Carol Hansley, good to see you. WRNL Gaming, we saw that earlier. Clinton Woodby, good to see you. Carol Hansley, good to see you. And Kevin Reese, good to see you. Everybody in here rooting their drivers on as, some heavy contact into the wall right there. What in the world was that? Couldn't tell if that was Jay Stinson or Bill Hales, or the guy just in front of both of them. Oh, man, this is going to be Bill Hales. This was a little bit of a dramatic moment. Watch this. You see the 53 is on the inside, and he just starts coming up, and Jay's there. Thinks he's maybe clear, and he's not. So that hooks him hard into the outside wall. Jay sees that, checks up. Bill Hales is able to save it. Everybody keeps rolling, but definitely going to be some heavy damage to that 53 truck and that 31 truck. Back up front now with 9 laps to go. Is Isaac Smallwood still leading. Kevin Winker back in third. Joe Yakes second. Braden Avila third. William George fourth. Braden Avila in fourth. William George running out your top 5. All right, we are going to take our final commercial break of the night. Won't be too long. We will be right back for the conclusion here at Pocono. Stick with us. Back live at the Tricky Triangle, Pocono Raceway closing in on the end of the Nirjuana 200, and up front it is Isaac Smallwood, and doesn't look like there's going to be too much contest. Well, that's what we thought going to break at least. But all of a sudden, Joe Yates, kind of out of nowhere, has made a move up towards the front, closed it within half a second of your leader. And you wonder, does the 87 have enough left to get to Isaac Smallwood here in what's going to be these last 4 laps? A little bit of a lap traffic right here just in front of Yates. He's trying to get around Robert Dudley. We'll see how hard Robert races him right here. And doesn't look like he's going to give him too many issues as they get into turn 3. Yates will get clear. And so looking at that and taking a look at your track map here, that's it for traffic. Unless anybody else comes out of the pits, 4 laps, they will not catch anybody else. So at this point, you are seeing Isaac Smallwood just do everything he can to try to hold back that 87. One of those things being what he was seeing earlier from Kevin Winker, what Winker was doing to him even, and that is breaking the draft. It's going to be a big factor right here, but within half a second, I mean, it's just a simple slip up here from Smallwood, and Yates is there. Smallwood looking for his second win and a back-to-back. Joe Yates looking for his first one on the season. Kevin Winker back in third, but you can see he is over 2 seconds behind your 2 leaders. William George back in 4th, Jay Stinson 5th, Braden Avila 6th, Mark Beverly 7th, Bill Hales in 8th, Jesse Calloway 9th, and Keith Prince rounding out your top 10. As for any racing that we got left on the track, not a whole bunch of it. Here's the move. Will Rainwell to the inside of the 99 of Dylan Paws. He'll complete that pass. The further back you go, though, the more spread out things start to get. Michael Newman to the inside here of Mark Beverly. That's not for position, though. There you see the 33 of John Shalino with a little battle here between him and the 2 of Jeremy Tolley. David Traylor looking to come up into that battle as well, but make it 3 laps now to go. The gap up front, and this is a battle we're going to stay on the rest of the way. Still at 0.4 of a second. I think Yates is going to have to try to find a little something more. What that something is, I just don't know. And right there, I think he needs to try to follow Isaac down here when Isaac tries to break the draft. I just don't think it's quite enough. Running up high when he goes low, anything helps. And they're pretty even in the turns. In fact, honestly, looks to me like Joe Yates might even be just a little bit quicker, especially through the tunnel turn. The problem is, though, is he going to have enough time? They're going to be coming to 2 laps to go right here. Last lap for caution. If they make it to the white flag, this race will be official. But it's not over yet. Joe Yates, the 87, Isaac Smallwood, the 5. 2 laps to go at Pocono. There you see that time he was able to close it probably about a 10th, almost a 10th and a half from the tunnel turn down to turn number 1. And this is where I think Smallwood gets him. Smallwood, I think, is a lot better through that first turn. They rock it onto the backstretch. Now you can see he's back to kind of where he started, a 10th behind. 0.5 of a second. Smallwood's going to break the draft once more. Again, just not sure exactly why Joe Yates isn't going down. I know he knows something we don't. He's the man out here driving the truck, but That time he gets really, really tight. Boy, he is definitely pushing that truck for all it's got left in it. And you wonder if he gets there, or, gets close enough. Does he have a chance of maybe making a move? Maybe a little bit of a bump and run? I don't know if it'll work here. Pocono is certainly something you could try, but he's got to get close enough first. And he's going to have 3 more corners to do it. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go at Pocono. The gap. Oh, Smallwood touched the wall. Smallwood tapped the wall. That's going to cost him another 10th. Joe Yates, he's got to run a perfect corner. Smallwood's going to be a little bit out of rhythm. You see Yates go a little bit lower. In fact, make it a lane lower as they come up off of 2 here. Who is going to have the run? Looks like Yates going to try to hold on to it here. Smallwood breaks the draft yet again. Almost down to 0.3 of a second. The closest it's been since we've been on this battle. Final time through the tunnel turn now. Smallwood with a chance to go back-to-back. The 87 of Yates with a chance to get his first one of the season. No closing there of the gap through the tunnel. Final time into turn number 3. Last chance for Joe Yates. He's going to dive it in, but it's not going to be enough. Gets it down to 0.2 and no more. Smallwood won it last week. He's going to go back-to-back. He will win it at Pocono. Isaac Smallwood, the first driver of the season that goes back-to-back. And now the most winning driver on the season, of course, with those 2 wins. Yates brings home second. Heck of an effort. And Kevin Winker rounding out your top 3. Good finish here tonight. That last lap was a good one. And, man, a minute mistake right there from Isaac Smallwood almost cost him in the biggest way possible. But he's able to keep himself out of trouble and was able to keep going. So the rest of the field here is still getting across the line before we'll get your finishing results here on the night. But man, certainly it was a clean one tonight. Very clean one to say the least. Felt like a little bit of a longer one on the season. Certainly a race of endurance, but through the green flag pit stops, through the couple of cautions that we did have, Isaac Smallwood prevailed, so no surprise to find himself in victory lane. He's your winner tonight. Joe Yates again breaks home second. Kevin Winker in third. William George back in fourth with Jay Stinson fifth. Braden Avila in sixth. Mark Beverly seventh. Jesse Calloway in eighth. Bill Hales in ninth with Keith Prince rounding out your top 10. Evan Schilling finishes 11th. Jesse Wise in 12th. Michael Miller 13th. TJ Lane in 14th. David Traylor in 15th. Brody Venti in 16th. Dylan Paws finishes back in 17th with Sammy Davis in 18th. Lance Thompson in 19th. And Will Rainwell rounding out your top 20. Eric Hegdahl finishes 21st. Jonathan Herbert finishes 22nd. Dennis Steele in 23rd with Michael Newman 24th. Roger Strickland 25th. John Shileno 26th with Jeremy Tolley 27th. Robert Dudley 28th. Andrew Hansley 29th. And Rick LePage rounding out your top 30. Colton Hardy finishes 31st. Tyler Beverly 32nd. And then Haas Beverly, who again unfortunately was not able to start the race due to some issues, he finishes out in that final position, 33rd. Well, as your winner tonight continues to celebrate as he should. It's a big win for Isaac Smallwood. We are going to go see if we can get your top 3 in the booth for interviews. Stick with us. We'll be right back. Pocono. Back live at Pocono Raceway, starting first tonight with third place finisher Kevin Winker. Hey, Kevin, this is Austin Booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, not quite the win, but certainly a good finish. We talked to you there about midway through the race. You talked about how important track position was. Do you feel like maybe things didn't go the way you planned through the pit cycle? I mean, where did you feel like the 5 really started to get the edge there towards the end?
Well, on that, before I pit on the green there, I think I used my tires up a little too much, and then I had to save fuel that last run hardcore. I ran out at the line there on the checkered, so I think in the end that was kind of where I really couldn't bat him, because he he was good on the fuel and could push on his tires, so I kind of had to conserve a little bit. But I don't think I had anything for him anyways. Him and the 87, they were pretty quick tonight, so I'm not really good at this track. So honestly, P3 for me I'm pretty happy with that for tonight.
We did see some strategy play there, again, towards the middle of the race that got you to the front initially. And, I mean, overall, you got to credit that somewhat to being able to finish third. And how do you kind of go about making a decision like that? Is that kind of one of those things you just improvise mid-race, or do you have that planned out from the get-go?
I don't really have it planned out. I was kind of seeing where I was in coming up to the stage, and I was running 10th or 11th and only top 5, get stage points. So it didn't really benefit me just to finish stage in 10th. So I just kind of flipped it. And they got out front there. Like I said, that clean air is huge, but then I just kind of used my tires up a little too much, and Isaac caught me. But yeah, that's kind of the game plan going is. Like I try to, each race I try to shoot for a top 5 in stage. If it doesn't work, then I kind of try to think of something else strategy wise I can flip and do it around if I can't get stage points.
Well, congrats on that third place finish tonight. Before we let you head out, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to Bruce Milberger Custom Homes, come aboard and sponsor me in all my leagues. I think he's watching one of the other guys' 24 hours race tonight, but I know he'll be watching this later, so big shout out to him. Second shout out to Winko Nation, my girlfriend Shauna, Brandon, Justin, Brett, Nicole, Dylan. All them guys are in it. Come out and watch me, support me. Can't thank them enough. Nate Cogda at Sonic graphic design for the killer paint. I know he has a lot of sweet looking paints in this league and other leagues, so check him out if you're looking for paint. Sonic graphic design. All the admins, Mark and all them that put this league on, we appreciate it. Good ran league. Congrats to Isaac on the win, and then you for the broadcast. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for talking to us, and we will see you out here next week.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, and now that is going to bring in your second place finisher here tonight. Well, we had him in the booth. Not sure where he went. Joe Yakes. And in fact, give me just a moment here. We're going to go ahead and pull him up. All right, here we go. Hey, Joe, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, well, you bring home second tonight. Man, it was getting down to the wire there at the end. I thought you were going to have a couple chances. Last 4 laps seemed like the gap just kind of held even. Was there anything else you felt like you could have done?
I mean, I think the only thing I could have done was something I could have done 30 laps earlier and just done a better job managing the traffic. Once I got through the traffic, I got to Isaac, and we were pretty dead even. I was getting him a little bit here and there, but he was just getting such better runs off of 3 that I just couldn't keep up.
Well, overall, you pull off your best finish of the season here tonight at a track that has a reputation known as the Tricky Triangle. It's got to produce some momentum going forward. How are you going to carry it into Rockingham next week?
Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, we've had a little bit of a rough start to the season. Haven't had the best finishes, and we've had the speed and the pace, so we're able to kind of put it all together tonight and just kind of get some momentum going forward. I love Rockingham. It is one of my favorite tracks, and I'm really looking forward to that one next week.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for talking to us. Before we let you head out tonight, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I want to shout out my teammates, Jesse Wise, Jesse Calloway, and Sammy Davis for hanging out tonight. They were awesome to hang out, race, and chat. I want to shout out my Twitch audience over on my Twitch channel, Yakes87. They were tuning in, cheering me on, kind of helping me strategize this thing out. And then I want to throw a shout out to Progeny Esports for being on board.
All right. Well, thank you for talking to us. Congrats again on second, and we'll see you next week at Rockingham.
Thank you. We'll see you then.
All right. Now that's going to bring us to your winner here tonight. Back-to-back, 2-time winner now on the season, Isaac Smallwood. Isaac, this is Austin. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, you do it. I mean, you felt pretty good when I talked to you last week, and man, here you are, 2 for 2. Back-to-back wins. First question is, how'd you pull that off?
Honestly, I have no idea. The 87, he was just a little bit better on the long run there, and I was just able to manipulate the air just a little bit and able to stay out front there.
We saw a couple different trucks with speed here tonight, and you weren't necessarily the first guy to take the lead at the start of this race. It seemed like throughout the race you kept getting faster and faster until you took the lead when you never looked back. How do you go about kind of making those minute in-race adjustments? We know you can't change the truck, but is it just to change a line? Do you save tires more? How do you do it?
Yeah, I noticed in that first run there, before the stage break, I was able to save tire, run lines, do the moves whenever I needed to, and I caught the leader pretty quick there, and I just ran out of laps to get the stage win. But yeah, all it takes is just saving a little bit of tires and being good on the long run, and you'll pull off a win. You ain't got to be the fastest truck, but you just got to be smooth and consistent.
Well, you may not have to be the fastest one, but from what it looked like up here, you certainly were at the end of that race. So congrats on that. Before we let you head out tonight to enjoy and celebrate, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I got to shout out, the Nate at Sonic Graphic Designs. He hooked me up, and we got the truck looking good now. Eric Hegdahl with 4 Wide Broadcasting Network. He came on board, and the guys over at Mopower. I mean, we bring the power with us.
Certainly did tonight. Well, thank you for talking to us here tonight, and see you next week at Rockingham.
Yep, see you.
All right, just about going to wrap up our coverage tonight here from Pocono. A couple quick things before you head out. The big news is what we're doing tomorrow. You heard a couple guys talk about it there in interviews, and yes, Ghost Racing Network tomorrow night is going to head over and complete a 24 hours of Daytona. Team for that, me, Alex Hill, Matthew Baker, and Cody Nagels, 3 different racing teams coming together for Ghost 74. The initial stint, which will be ran by Matthew Baker from 12 Eastern tomorrow, we will broadcast at least the start of that, and kind of just, it won't be so much of a broadcast as it will be a live stream, so make sure you jump in and feel free to chat with us for a little bit. Excited for it. And I will be running the 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern stint tomorrow, and then the 9 to 12 finishing stint on Sunday. So looking forward to that. As for tonight, phenomenal racing. Congrats to Isaac Smallwood. Again, apologies for all the little technical issues we had at the start and there early. It was a rough night for me, but thank you all for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed. Won't be here next week, but we'll see if we can find a backup. Shouldn't be too hard. And next time we see you around, it'll be another good time. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm Austin.